Hello and welcome to the Community Voice. I'm Fara Sax. I feel like we're having a roundtable here, but joining me today is Ausome Foundation, and they really are awesome. It's located in Doral, and we're going to hear more about. We're going to do some self-introductions. Thank you all for taking time away from your very, very busy schedules to join me here today.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Leanne, start off. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, my name is Leanne Longobuco. I'm one of the directors at Ausome Foundation. My background is from corporate America, and that kind of led me to what I'm doing now. I'm out in the community and representing Ausome Foundation. So basically the face of the foundation for right now.
And it just began.
We just had our 1-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
June 1st.
Kudos to you.
Thank you.
Bueno, mi nombre es Joandy Flores. Sorry, my English is not very good, así que lo voy a decir en español.
My Spanish is muy malo.
Estoy agradecido con Lian, con la fundación, por darme la oportunidad de aprender con ellos de un mundo que no conocía y experimentar el poder que tiene la música para poder cambiar vidas, para mejorar estados de ánimos, sobre todo esos angelitos que son niños, que simplemente son diferentes, pero también tienen derechos a tener oportunidades, a soñar con lograr cosas en la vida. Y la música ha sido una herramienta grandísima para mí y para otras personas para mejorar no solamente espiritualmente, sino también para motivar a otros. Así que gracias por la oportunidad.
Thank you.
Hi guys, Willie Espinosa. I am the chairman of the board for the Ausome Foundation, our first chairman of our board that we have. My history is baseball. I used to be a baseball player for many, many years. I retired in 2008. Since then, I've been in staffing the majority of my career. I work with multiple staffing companies throughout the country, kind of just helping other companies kind of find the right talent. I joined this foundation, obviously, because of the purpose of it. I have some personal ties to it in my family as well. So when I was given the opportunity to join the board, I absolutely said yes. And then after saying yes to joining the board, I was given the title of chairman of the board. So I sit on a lot of different boards here. Coral Gables, I've been involved in a lot of nonprofits for probably the last 10 years or so. And so I've done this, and I'm looking forward to kind of taking this on and kind of running with it.
Wonderful.
And my name is Marlo Rosado. I am the newest member to the Ausome Foundation board. Just like you, Leanne asked me if I wanted to be on the board. I absolutely immediately jumped on it because I believe in my city. I believe in Miami. And I think that anything we can do to help every aspect of this city. And these are the young kids that are coming up, and that hopefully eventually they can be they can be more participants of our city, right? And not just continue to look at them as people that can't. And so I come from the world of education. I taught elementary school for many years. I have worked with children with all types of disability. For the last 17 years, I have not been in the classroom. I have dedicated my entire life to music. I own a recording studio, and I sort of live between both of those worlds, the world of education and the world of music. I try to bring them together in everything I do. So again, thank you for making me part of this magnificent foundation.
Like you had an option.
You know, it's funny. I just met Leanne probably about less than 2 weeks ago, and she's like right on it. And here we are sitting together having this conversation and really letting our audience know about how awesome Ausome really is for the community and its mission. So maybe you want to address what the mission is and what the population you serve.
I think I'd like to start with the name. Ausome Foundation is purposely spelled the way that it's spelled because it takes the word awesome and it takes the word autism. And that's where you get AUSOME. So that in itself has its meaning. And the mission basically is very simple. Our mission is to empower and give the opportunity to everybody on the spectrum to be the best they can be. And that's all we would want for anyone else. So it's very important for us to present these opportunities in the community to younger children. We are working on programs for adults as well. And that's the mission.
And how does this begin. I mean, it's a strange bunch of people here. We got baseball, we got Grammy Award winner, we have a music therapy, and we have you that comes from the corporate world. How did this like gel? I mean, how did you? It's like, you know, the Wizard of Oz, how Dorothy just picks up people along the way. I'm going to see the wizard, and here we are.
Some of it was intentional, and some of it was just meant to happen. And I think the best way that I can explain it is going back a year back when we were doing our business plan and we're sitting here, we're making projections on what we want to do. For me, I actually met Marlo right after he won his first Grammy. I think it was 2013. And he made an impact on me. He was very genuine in the conversations we had. He just seemed like a real person, and accessible. I didn't speak to him for so many years, but when I'm doing my business plan and I put my wish list, he was on my wish list. So the fact that we reconnected 3 weeks ago, I literally picked up the phone. I reached out to him. He says, well, I knew you because your number was in my phone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had no idea who was calling me. I saw Leanne and the name of your company back then. It's on there.
Well, it's a production company from
Yeah.
when we did the interview.
Did you know you were going to be on her vision board?
No idea.
No.
I was at an event when you called me, and you invited me to go see his rehearsal.
Mhm.
And I said, I'm at an event. Maybe when I get out of here, I'll stop by, because in our world, 11 p.m. is never late. For most people, 11 p.m. is at the end of the day.
I'm in my pajamas snoring already.
At 11 p.m., I probably will take a break before I, go on. So I was ending my event around 10, and then I called you. You said, we're still here. So I'll come over. And I came over and I met Loris and his crew.
And when he's talking about, I actually sit on a board for another foundation, and he wrote a song for this foundation, and we were in the rehearsals of that when Marlo shows up. And then Marlo knows a lot of the musicians because they're in that world, so they all know each other. But that's really the gist of how it happened. And I was sitting in his studio. I had connected them, and I was sitting in his studio, and he's giving me his whole background, and the computer's going. And I was like, I'm thinking of him, the musical genius, but now he's talking this. No, you've got to be on my board. And I said it just like that.
And you can't say no, like you said.
And not to mention, he was the only dude in the board. But bunch of women. He needs a little support.
Yeah, so Willie,
definitely.
how did you jump on this board?
Literally. Well, like I mentioned, I sit on a couple of different boards, and I met Leanne at one of our events here in Coral Gables, and somebody mentioned to her, you need to speak to Willie when it came to this, and she comes up to me. She said, "Listen, I was told I need to speak with you. I'm looking for a board member." I was like, "Okay, great. What's this for?" I sit on 3 boards already as it is. Like he mentioned, I didn't know this board was all women. First off, I have 4 daughters, so imagine I don't have much time to jump on another board, let alone now become the chairman.
But you understand women,
I understand women. So we go to our first event the other day before we introduced him as our newest board member, and I look up in this. I didn't notice even after our first meeting, and I look up and I see all women, and I'm like, oh Lord, here I go again, all women, and being raised by all women and having all women at home and now board all women. It was kind of, it's funny. I had to laugh at it. That's the way it kind of was. But she asked me to join her board. And then obviously once we meet her, Leanne and I got to know each other a little bit more. She saw how much experience I have in nonprofit world. And she just said, you're the chairman of my board. And again, it was so hard to say no.
And and you're all like united from music. This is all about music and the music therapy and how that. Tell me how music really helps someone that might be on the spectrum.
That is, and to give him the credit he deserves. I met him. This was by accident and one of the best surprises I've had in my career in the nonprofit world. He reached out to me, and we met. And it was supposed to be a meeting, and I think it was 6 or 7 hours long by the time we finished. And when we finished, we were talking about music therapy.
So you help these children.
Bueno, para mí
explica un poco cómo lo haces.
Sí, para mí es algo nuevo. Tú me vas ayudando.
It's something new for him.
Sí, porque en realidad cuando llegó la pandemia, que todos los músicos nos quedamos sin conciertos, pues se me ocurrió dar clases de música en un salón que tenía en casa. Y empezaron a llegar niños, sin padres, con niños con características especiales. Sabemos que no hay una metodología para enseñar música a niños con autismo, o no es lo que nos han enseñado en la escuela. Tuve que inventarme un método para no decir, no puedo ir. Creo casi todos mis alumnos
And if you can see we are actually running a music therapy program that's happening right now.
That is actually at
No,
This is his program.
He doesn't speak at all.
Oh, I was get right in.
And here's what comes with that.
And look at how much fun they're having.
And here's the lifelong program, music programs, and even art programs, and the school boards, right? The minute they need to cut any kind of budgets, the minute they need to do anything to shift, they're always cutting the arts, right?
Absolutely.
And no one goes to see, a guy like him that doesn't speak the language, working with kids. I mean, everything here is so backwards, and it works. It works because there's the music link keeps it together. And like he said, these kids are not there to learn music. You're not going to teach them what a quarter note is, what a whole note is. They just want to have a good time. They want to walk out of there feeling great, right?
So what does this program provide?
What's instrumental for our children, for children that are on the spectrum? What people have to understand is that this is a method of communication. You and I are sitting here, we're all sitting here, we're communicating with our words. Children on the spectrum don't necessarily have the ability. That's one of the characteristic things, is the inability to communicate and socialize. Through music, they can do this. It's an expression. This is how they are communicating. They're just not communicating with words. They're communicating through, we have a young man that has never integrated in anything that we've done. And the last session, he went up and played the bongos. He was happy. He was moving. When Lores talks about someone not speaking the language, we have a young lady that knows one of his musical songs in Spanish. She doesn't speak a lick of Spanish, and she knows every word to that song.
Wasn't that wonderful?
This is communication. This is giving these children an opportunity to socialize, to feel what society sometimes says you can't do this. They can. And part of the problem here is a lack of education. So we educate and we advocate. And one of the biggest things that we're doing is we're compiling all this data. Fortunately, we can't put it on a spreadsheet. We have to quantify. We have videos. We have a lot of information that we're gathering thanks to his extraordinary work. And this isn't something that you're going in for an hour. He spends endless hours with these children and learning with the therapists. To better help these children to communicate and to achieve goals, because the only thing we can always do is give everyone the same opportunity to be the best that they can be. Where sometimes society shuns them or puts them on the side, we're saying, no, we have the same opportunities available to you that everyone has.
And it's your hope, I assume, to get this into the Miami-Dade school system for them to really integrate these programs.
Yes.
Well, it'd be great to end up with they're gonna the school system is always gonna want the benchmarks, the objectives, and all that kind of stuff. It'd be great to end up with his entire program, with all the objectives, with all the benchmarks, with everything that it needs to be presented. Hopefully, someday to someone that would say, we sort of are we did that with the studio at Zelda Glacier. We knew that schools, the music programs in schools, need to move away from the traditional music education to more studio oriented. So we created this entire a presentation, and with the help of different foundations and different donors, we were able to start one music studio in one school, and hopefully that's going to catch fire and become the wave of new music education. This should also be right up there. You know, we should be able to incorporate these benchmarks, these objectives, these all everything that he's bringing. He's making this up, by the way. He said it. You know, he didn't know what he was doing. He walked in there and he's making it up as he goes along with real experience, with the real kids, with the real problems that are happening.
Hands on.
And he's in the right environment because he has all the clinical people there helping him and guiding him on how to be successful during the time that he's there. So from the first time, and we go to all his music sessions, and we're recording this, and we see the evolution of him with these children and the children with him. And it's a beautiful thing to see.
And is the program insulated, or is it in conjunction? You started saying it's in one of the schools, but is it?
It's in one of the schools because right now it's a pilot program. We received a grant from the city of Cutler Bay that's funded through the Miami Foundation.
And you've gotten 2 proclamations.
I did, from Mayor Cunningham in the village of Palmetto Bay.
Kudos again.
Yes.
Thank you.
What
Thank
you're
you.
able to accomplish in a year.
You know, and it doesn't happen.
Wait till what's coming.
It doesn't happen by
Snowball
yourself. You
effect,
surround yourself with these kind of people. We've been very fortunate in the community. A lot of people, we've received a lot of help from chambers because they see the genuine purpose. They see me out in the community continuously. Sometimes they're like, Leanne, we saw you like at 4 events today. And
you told me that you were on your way home at 1 o'clock in the morning one night when you and I were speaking. I'm like, what am I doing up at 1 o'clock in the morning? Probably was listening to you play some music on the late night
1 in the
studio.
morning,
Yeah, their hours are nocturnal for sure. But you know, we go back to there's a belief, there's a need. And if you start educating people and you start advocating, and the statistics are there, they're telling us that 1 in 44 children will be diagnosed. So this is on the rise. This is something, if you haven't dealt with it, may not affect you directly, but you will hear the terminology and you will know someone that knows someone. So you need to be educated about this, because through education, you can advocate and you can help. It's the only way we can do this. And it's, you know, that you go back to when you always used to hear it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it really does, because we can't do this by ourselves. One of the most instrumental things that has happened for us was June 1st was that installation of that board of directors for Ausome Foundation. And they are awesome. And surrounding ourselves with those kind of individuals, with individuals, musicians like him that dedicate their time. There's never a barrier. It's like, what do you need? Those type of people are going to take us to the next level.
Right. Willie, what do you see? What do you see as this evolution happening at this time?
Yeah. So I'll be honest with you. I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited because I see so much has happened. First off, we just got installed about a month ago. We had our first board meeting about a month and a half ago or so. And so much has happened in that short period of time. And I see where they were before. Okay. And I saw how they were missing as far as that structure. And myself, obviously, my experience that I've had in the boards and nonprofits and how to kind of get things somewhat organized is really what's kind of come to light now. And with our team and the board members that we've had so far, and we're still looking for more board members, and we're looking to grow. I mean, I've been part of boards that have 30 and 40 people on them. And I can see ourselves being at a board of anywhere between 15 to 20 people of people that can have something to bring to us, you know, because a lot of people, and again, it's unfortunate we live in a society. Some people just want to just show light and throw a lot of kudos on themselves. But in reality, it's, you know, we have to do it for the right reasons. Again, my reasoning for being on it is because obviously I've seen it firsthand and before any of these programs even existed. You know, so I've seen it where it was 15, 20 years ago, you know, with family members of my own that didn't have access to these, you know. So now seeing everything that we're doing, seeing the videos that he has made, seeing the kids from the beginning of the video. If you watch the beginning of his first video and then you watch the end of that video, a kid that's super quiet that you wouldn't even think that they would even stand up. By the end of the video, they're standing up dancing, which is amazing.
What is it about music because that seems to be the commonality. What is it about music that it gets me rocking?
Okay, now I want to answer that because I don't know anything about music at all whatsoever. Okay, and we had this conversation the other day. Is I don't know an artist. I didn't know them before I met them. And unfortunately I've heard his music. And it's funny because I've heard his songs and I've danced to it. And I've seen it in a club or a restaurant or whatever it is, and I tune to it. They speak so fast I don't understand the words and stuff like that. So for me, it's very different.
Well, you speak pretty fast yourself.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a rapper, and I probably don't make sense the way they do. But the rhythms and the feeling of the music, right? And he made a comment when we first met. He goes, "Could you imagine this world without music? Where would we be?" You know what I'm saying? And so it'd be such a very quiet, dull world. And that to me is where I started seeing more and more opportunities, potential. Whereas myself, that I want to install and bring in more people that have influence on our board, joining our board, that can do a lot more of this. So we have to grow exponentially. And listen, we have a glue here of Leanne here that just is not going to let it go.
She's a super glue. She's like a cement glue.
She is.
She really is.
She's.
But it's kudos to you.
We work well together, and we have the same vision. And I think they have the same vision as well. And that's why we're going to continue to get at a very fast pace to some levels I don't think people even have any idea of. So
people that want to get involved, families that might need your services, what would you suggest that they do?
If they reach out to us at Ausome Foundation, www.ausomefoundation.org, they can reach us through 305-908-2992. There's emails on the website. We do return all our calls. We can help orient people. Sometimes it's something as simple as, I have insurance, I have a diagnosis, what do I do? Well, we get them in touch with the right.
And you provide a scholarship.
We have been providing scholarships to Golden Horizon Academy, which was the first school that actually entertained the idea of the foundation going in and doing these pilot programs with them. Mm-hmm. Now, the problem we're facing with the scholarships is we're a new foundation, funds are limited, and we want to help. Now, McKay and Gardner combined, it's now one. They've diminished the amounts. So we're finding ourselves in the position where we either give less amount of scholarships or more scholarships for less amount. Either way, we lose.
So if they want to donate, our audience can donate to help the Ausome Foundation.
Absolutely.
It's the same website.
Same website. There's a donate button, and you can donate there. And if someone wants us to come out and speak to them for investment purposes or something like that, we're available to go and talk to them there.
And it's very exciting. Your first event was the art of being awesome. Who wants to talk about that?
That was a vision, a dream that I had.
Somehow it felt awesome. It seemed like it was awesome also.
It was, and it was such a beautiful surprise to me. It was at the Coral Gables Museum. I went throughout the community, from visiting the mayor to everybody there, and let them know this is what we're doing. And we actually had a local graffiti artist. His name is Vic Garcia. And Vic Garcia took his art and did his presentation, made donations of some of the graffiti he did at another event that we were at, and he signed them. And we had a light art installation outdoors. We lit up that whole museum. And, there were hors d'oeuvres. One of our board members, Bea Gomez, Events by Bea, provided our hors d'oeuvres. We have Tony Haber donated the wine, surrounded by all these wonderful people. And everybody was able to participate in this event to the extent they wanted to. If you wanted to do the art, you did the art. When we did the light installation and we lit that thing outside, we actually oversold the venue. Because there was people walking by and they're like, what are you doing? Can we come in? And we're like, buy a ticket. You can come in. So it was a beautiful event. I want to do something like that, just bigger and better.
Wonderful. And tell me about some of the Ausome foundations, what you've accomplished. I mean, you just had your 1-year anniversary in June.
Well, it's been a struggle, as with anything. It's a nonprofit world. It is difficult. We've been out in the community. We are working on various projects. One of the biggest things and one of the biggest needs that we have are sensory rooms. For anyone that has a family member or is aware of what autism sensory disorder is, knows how disruptive it is in their lives when they're trying to have a normal family activity. So you go to a stadium and you have 3 children. One is on the spectrum. He's having a meltdown. Usually the family has to pick up and go home. They can't enjoy that day the way that everybody else does. But providing sensory rooms or de-escalation rooms or combinations thereof of these rooms will allow these people to go in there and kind of like take a time out.
So out at the location, at the venue, you're saying that these would
At
be-
different venues throughout the community, and that's one of the largest projects that we're doing. We will be installing 2 of them in the very near future. And that in itself is huge, that we have the audience that entertained the idea of letting us do it. Alexandra Garcia, which is my counterpart at Ausome Foundation, does these designs and does the rendering for all these designs, and they're spectacular. We actually have some people flying in from another country to come and look at them as well. So this is a big deal. This is a huge accomplishment. The music program has been big. The events have been big. The fact that we've gotten financial support where we can provide scholarships. And what I do know is that these wonderful musicians here, we will be planning a benefit concert. And I am so excited about that.
So tell me a little bit more about that. Who can come to it, and how? Where are you in the planning stages?
Trying to convince them to do it.
Oh, come on.
Well, we're sitting right here, so I have all day till they say yes.
They've already said yes.
Yeah, we're in.
They're in. And they're the musical masters. They're the ones that are gonna put this together. You know, experts where experts belong in their area, and we're gonna pull this off. And we're just we're looking at different venues. Again, Mayor Cunningham very graciously has jumped in to assist us with a venue, and you know, it's a process. We have to secure the venue, determine what type of population we're going to deal with, what musicians are going to participate, and then they will do this, and tickets will be available for sale.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
don't
to
know
the
what the
public.
categories will be yet
The
because we're
general
not there.
public, and then we'll have some sponsorship options
We'll have
and stuff like
sponsor-
that
yeah.
as well. So we're in that process right now, putting everything together in regards to the details. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be our first big bang, I want to say,
Yeah.
to really escalate us to a whole nother level, to be able to then kind of go back to that question you asked in regards to how does somebody sign up, how do we determine that. And that's really the most important part of us putting together a strong board, is because, you know, we all have to, it's a tough decision, you know, and I've been on some very difficult boards, make some difficult decisions for other people's families, stuff like that. So, you know, it weighs on us. So that's the biggest thing that we need to have. But this, like, something like that will definitely jumpstart us, and having these two is just,
And
you know,
it's instrumental to have, you know, everybody has time, talent, or treasure. If you don't possess one, you possess two, you possess three. But we always need volunteers. We always need sponsorship. People donate their time. They don't understand how valuable a volunteer is with a nonprofit. When you have an event, you know, if you had to pay 10 or 15 people, you have volunteers. So everybody's idea, thought, time, talent, treasure is valuable, no matter how big or how small.
Wonderful. We have only a couple of minutes left. I want to go around. Just what is it that you hope, either in your personal life or in the foundation's life, that the audience might need to know, or would help you connect and move forward to help? What could they do? Marla, you want to start?
What I would like to see happen is, like I said at the beginning, I believe in my city, and I remember when I was a kid, going to the courthouse and seeing how Down syndrome people were starting to join the workforce. You'd see them here and there. Today, you see them at Publix. You see them all over the place. There was a story the other day in Puerto Rico of a couple that what they're doing in Puerto Rico is amazing. What the girl is a model for L'Oreal. The guy has a business, and none of this and none of these advances that have happened with that community would never have come to fruition had someone not started saying, we can use these individuals. These people are useful. They're not just to be stuck in a house.
Discarded.
Right.
Mhm.
I think the very same, especially, right, we say the spectrum, because you do have children that have been diagnosed, but are absolutely nowhere near in the spectrum, if I'm saying this right, as children that that are a little bit more deep in this world, in this, in that space. So to be able to think that we could start, or that things have started happening in these times, that 20 years from now, this is gonna lose this stereotype, right? That these kids are autistic.
It's going to be normalizing it.
No more labels.
The
Yes.
same way
Yeah.
it's happened with the Down syndrome community. Today, it's easy to go into Publix and see a Down syndrome person bagging your groceries. You don't even look at them weird anymore. It's so normal. Hopefully someday we can say that even a little bit, or I can say that even just that I use my music, my vehicle, to help just a little bit in getting this idea that our city can thrive from that community as well.
Absolutely. Willie, what do you think?
It has a lot to do with a lot that he just said. Just to piggyback off of him, just to see, when I was playing baseball, we had the. It was a blessing to me to go, and it's sad as well. But we used to visit a lot of hospitals. But the majority of them were kids, that had diseases that were just kind of at the end of their lives. But their wish lists were to spend some time with a professional athlete or something like that. But this is something where this is not a fatal type of thing. They just have a different type of personality to be able to kind of show the awareness that they can be normal, and at the end of the day, be able to be part of our community without being stereotyped or having a label on it. And again, he's absolutely right. You walk by so many kids nowadays with Down syndrome or whatever it is, whatever issues they might have, and a lot of kids you don't even notice anymore. You know what I'm saying? And that's without even having access to all these type of programs. How many other kids we're gonna have? Maybe out of these little schools that he's doing shows are gonna become musicians themselves, and we're not gonna know. There's a lot of professional athletes that have autism and have been diagnosed with autism, and they're doing amazing things that you can't even tell. They're on TV, they're doing interviews, they're doing everything. But when they were little kids, they were one of those quiet kids that are sitting in the back of the classroom. It's amazing. Imagine the things that they can do.
You never know whose life you're going to touch and how you're going to inspire young people to make a change in their own lives.
Yeah.
And hopefully this organization will be the
For
foundation.
us to
will
look
do
back
this.
20 years from now at this interview and then see what we're going to be at probably 20 years from now. It's going to be, I'm looking forward to it.
We
Not to
always say
mention-
one child, one family at a time. We'll get
And,
there.
and you said that you're surrounded by women. You've got a bunch of daughters and your wife. I'm in a similar situation. I have twin daughters. They're 17 years old. I'm also surrounded. My family's all women. I'm the only.
Oh,
man
my
around.
condolences to you.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, right,
It's
Leanne?
terrible. I don't want to say that in an interview, but oh
All right.
my God.
Marlo, the door's over there.
There's
And,
not enough time for that
and there's a bunch
conversation.
of women on the other side of the door, and it's just everywhere. No, but what I'm saying is that I also there's also that idea that someday my daughters could say, I want to do something like this because my father used to do this a lot.
Amen.
You know,
Amen.
we're also giving them an example, right?
Mhm.
We're men, and here we are, taking off.
Your armor of who you are projecting
to
yourselves
help
to be.
children that are in,
Absolutely.
and you turn around and hopefully someday my daughter can say, I want to do, my dad did a lot of this. My dad helped. I want to
Giving a
help.
hand.
Yeah.
Maybe giving a hand.
Yo quiero dejarle a la gente un mensaje importante. Yo era un niño muy rebelde. Vengo de un programa comunitario. Por eso creo y confío en que estos programas son importantes y que programas como estos pueden salvar muchas vidas y cambiar muchas vidas. Yo tenía un potencial de ser seguramente un niño sin mucho futuro por las condiciones que tenía familiares. Había mucha agresividad y un poco de todo lo que puede afectar el futuro de un niño. Y la música, mediante un programa comunitario, cambió totalmente mi vida. Podría decir que hoy soy una persona de bien, que tengo una familia, que tengo hijos y que puedo contribuir a una comunidad, a una sociedad, gracias a un programa comunitario. Así que yo creo que es importante que no seamos tan indiferentes en un mundo que ahora mismo está lleno de maldad, donde no sabemos en qué momento la maldad se va a hacer presente. Está en las escuelas, está en los teatros, está en los mercados, estamos viendo mucha agresividad. Y esto todo viene porque hay mucha información negativa. O sea, en las redes sociales, en la televisión, en la prensa, en la noticia, siempre se habla de cosas malas y no se le hace mucho enfoque a programas como estos. Creo que fundaciones como esta, programas como estos comunitarios, pueden cambiar el mundo de alguna manera. Así que yo estoy súper contento y por eso aprovecho esta oportunidad para dar un mensaje también a mis colegas que muchas veces estamos en la fama, tenemos la oportunidad y la gracia de poder hacer conciertos y mejorar nuestras vidas. Y muchas veces nos olvidamos de que esos problemas están ahí, al lado nuestro. El vecino tiene un niño con autismo, ¿sabes? Tú posiblemente tengas un sobrino o un tío que tiene un hijo con síndrome de Down, ¿sabes? Lo hemos visto en la escuela, donde quiera que salimos a la calle se nota. Y nosotros tenemos que aprender a convivir con ellos porque ellos están aquí con nosotros. Son parte de nuestro mundo. Y muchas veces nosotros queremos que ellos aprendan a convivir con nosotros cuando nosotros creo que debemos aprender a convivir con ellos y a crear sistemas y programas donde ellos también tengan un espacio. Por eso creo que este concierto es muy importante y hago un llamado a todos mis colegas de que no saben y no tienen idea de la sensación, de lo importante y de lo bien que se siente cuando sabes que aportaste y cambiaste la vida de alguien, cuando sabes que hay un niño que recibió una medicina, cuando sabes que hay un niño que recibió una terapia. Eso es muy importante porque yo soy un fruto de un trabajo como ese. Y creo que como yo hay muchos niños que todavía se pueden salvar, así que apuesto 100% a este concierto que se va a hacer para ayudar. Voy a tocar todas las puertas que conozco y estoy seguro que Marlo también va a apoyar. Gracias a Lian y a la fundación y a todo el equipo de trabajo. Gracias a ti también por la oportunidad de estar aquí. Prometo que en la próxima entrevista voy a hablar un poco en inglés. Pero estoy muy contento con este trabajo, la verdad. Gracias. Una bendición.
For me, it's really simple. I want to live in a world where being different doesn't mean you're less. And I say that all the time, that you're different, not less. And that would be a perfect world.
And may the union of music and those that have the differences unite, and may your foundation be successful with such love and passion that you have for the community and for joining me here today. So I wish you only wonderful things and continued success, and as you serve the community apart from yourselves. So something bigger than yourselves, and may you always be a role model to your family.
Thank you. Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Farah, and thank
Yeah.
you, the Community News, for having us here.
Absolutely. I mean,
Thank
it's
you.
phenomenal. I mean, the things that you guys do and all the awareness you guys bring to a lot of different programs and other things that I see. I've been part of you guys for following you guys for many, many years. And
the
thank
reach
you
you
guys.
have.
Yes,
The reach you have.
absolutely.
This is instrumental for us at Ausome Foundation.
And I'm so glad that you were able to come, and I'm so glad our new friendship of 2 weeks has brought you here with your
Who would've
whole
thought?
gallery and entourage of just heartfelt and passionate people. And sorry, we are women.
Hey, listen, I was saying it in a good way. All right.
We're not majority today. We're not
I was
majority
saying it in a
today.
good way. I was going somewhere with that story.
It's okay. But again, thank you for joining me today. And I want to thank you for joining us and enjoying this interview, and give of your time, give of your efforts, and just reach out if you or someone you know that might need the Ausome Foundation's services. They're here for you. And on behalf of them, I'm Fara Sax, and this has been the Community Voice. Stay well, stay connected, and take care.